What data is on the disk for camera number 8 that's not on the thumb drive?
Again, it needed to start from 11 o'clock onwards, from 11 to 12.
Okay. So from 11 to 12.
11 to 11:55.
Okay.
11:59.
Is contained on the disk that's not contained on the thumb
Contained
drive.
on the thumb drive, correct.
And lastly, showing you that information. Do you recognize that?
Correct.
And what is that?
That's number 10,
Okay.
camera number 10.
And does that refresh your memory that camera number 10 was the third camera?
Correct, yes.
All right. And is there information on the disk with respect to camera number 10 that's not on the thumb drive with respect to camera number 10?
Yes, sir.
And what's that?
It needed to start from 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock.
Okay, so when I ask you the question, what data is there, you need to just answer that question. Is there data with respect to camera number 10?
Correct, there is data contained.
And what data is that that's on the disk with respect to camera number 10 that's not on the thumb drive?
It started from 11 o'clock onwards.
Okay. Now, when you looked at this disk, did you look at some information about when the files on that disk were created?
Correct, sir.
And what did you find when you looked at the information about when the files on the disk were created?
They were created on July 18th, 2012.
I'm talking about the files, not
the files itself, yes. It was July 17th.
And was it in a time frame for when you created the files that were on the thumb drive?
Correct, sir.
So did you recognize all of the files in the disk as files that you created at the same time you created the files for the thumb drive?
Correct, sir.
Your Honor, at this time I'd offer the disk as the next exhibit.
Save objections to the subject.
All right. We will receive the disc now as the next numbered exhibit. Is that 58, Nancy? Exhibit 58.
Sometime after you created the thumb drive and you put it in the envelope and wrote Miller USB, did you receive another request for to back up some additional video?
Correct, sir.
And this next request came asking for what kind of video?
It was the downstairs camera, sir.
Now, when you say downstairs cameras, you're talking about the internal cameras?
The internal cameras, correct.
All right. So now going back to our original discussion, on the external DVR, how many internal cameras were there attached to that external DVR?
8.
8. And on the internal DVR, how many cameras were attached to that?
16.
All right. Let's talk about the internal DVR first.
Correct.
When you received the request to back up the downstairs video from the internal DVR, were you given the date that was asked for?
Correct.
And what was the date?
It was July 15th,
Okay, going into the 16th?
going to 16th.
And Tell us what happened when you attempted to back up the video from the external video of all the downstairs cameras on that DVR.
So a few weeks later, Miller had asked me to back up the downstairs cameras, and when I went to the office, during the day, I am thinking during the day, but I'm not positively sure, or it was the time when he was there. I'm sorry, let me rephrase all this. When that request came in, it came in throughout the day. So I had went to the office and I had looked at the DVR downstairs, and I hit the search button, and there was nothing to be searched because everything was white. It was a couple of weeks after that request that they had asked me to pull up more cameras from the downstairs with the second DVR.
And everything came up white. Were you able to find any recorded footage on the internal DVR
No, sir.
at all?
No, sir.
Not even for days that were after
Correct.
July 16th?
Correct. I try to go back and back. I mean, there's only a few weeks that you could actually go into the system and try to find anything on it, but there was nothing going on.
So there was no recorded footage whatsoever for any day
For any day.
on the internal DVR?
Correct.
All right. And at least based on your experience, did that indicate that the DVR was malfunctioning?
Was malfunctioning.
What did it indicate?
With the reading.
What did that indicate when you saw the white screen?
It indicated that the cameras weren't working and the cameras weren't recording.
Well, you're saying the cameras. What in your
The
mind was
DVR.
working? The DVR.
The DVR itself that held all of the cameras.
Okay. Now, there were 8 internal cameras associated with the external DVR as
Correct.
well. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Did you make an attempt to back up the video from the 8 internal cameras on the external DVR?
No, sir.
You did not try to?
I had tried to go. Well, I think you're confusing it a little bit because.
Let
that-
me rephrase the question.
Correct.
I'm referring.
Finish his question. His answer.
If you can explain any confusion that you think exists that you haven't caused, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You may explain.
Yes. So you had asked me when the request came in for the second time, or to see if we have anything for the downstairs cameras. That's when we realized that the camera or the DVR was not working correctly because there was nothing on it.
Okay. That was with respect to the internal DVR.
Correct.
All right, we're done with that.
Correct.
I want to talk about the external DVR.
The external.
All right. Did the external DVR also have cameras that showed the downstairs?
Correct.
How many cameras connected to the external DVR were downstairs?
8.
8. And did you make an attempt, did you try to
go back to
up?
the date.
Let me finish my question.
Correct, right.
Did you try to back up video from the external DVR for the 8 cameras that were downstairs?
I tried to make an attempt, but there was nothing there because it was overwritten.
Okay. It was overwritten. Was the external DVR, though, functioning properly?
Correct. It was functioning.
All right.
Because as soon as you hit the search button, the green slips comes up.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but
I'm
was the
trying to say-
DVR,
Correct,
the
yes.
external DVR, functioning properly?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you couldn't get footage, though, because it had been overwritten.
Overwritten.
With respect to the internal DVR, the one that was not functioning correctly, the one that had absolutely no recorded information on
Correct.
it, what did you do with that, if anything?
I had called the company because it was, within our warranty, and I had spoken to them. I tried to troubleshoot it, and nothing was going on. So they had said, we're going to send you a loaner until you you return this DVR that is broken. So in that respect is that they send you a loaner so you don't have to be out of any views for say because there was nothing recorded, but at least you can see what's going on live screen. So by the time we got the loaner, we had returned the broken DVR to be fixed or replaced by a new one.
Okay. And the broken DVR, the one that you sent in to be fixed, did that ever get returned to you?
No, sir.
All right. Do you know where that DVR is today?
It's back into that company that I bought it from.
Okay. It was never returned to you?
It was never returned.
The
correct.
company that you bought it from, is that company still in business?
No, sir.
I can have 1 minute here. Thank you, Mr. Navolsi. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan.
Mr. Navolsi, you got 3 requests for video footage, correct?
Correct.
I want to talk about the first request. The first request you got from a sticky note,
Correct.
and it was for outside images,
Correct.
and outside images only.
Correct.
You responded to that request.
Yes, sir.
You went to the office.
Correct. The next day.
You downloaded the, and correct me if I use the wrong term.
No, that's fine.
You downloaded the images,
Onto a USB. Correct.
and then you burned a disk.
I didn't burn the disc.
Who burned the disk?
I am not sure who. I don't remember who burnt the disc, but I know the content of the disc.
All right, but you're the one who used the USB to download those images.
From the DVR. Correct, sir. Onto my desktop.
And you left whatever you produced for Miller Thomas.
Correct.
And Miller Thomas is your
Hold
boss.
on 1 second, sir. Just to be clear,
The
was
USB.
that a disk or was that a thumb drive?
It was the thumb drive that I left for Miller
So the
Thomas.
first item was a thumb drive.
Correct.
You left that for
Thanks.
your boss.
Correct.
Your boss is Miller Thomas,
Correct.
and you were aware that Miller Thomas was a former Boston homicide detective.
Correct.
Now, we'll talk about the second request for video footage. You got a second request for footage to find a particular individual.
Correct.
It was a woman.
Yes.
You were given some sort of time range
Yes.
between this time and that time,
Correct.
and that's the parameters you used to do your search.
Yes, sir.
You did that?
Yes, because you have to view it.
Just like last time, you went into the office,
Yes, together
you,
that night
together with whom?
with Miller Thomas, so he can view the woman that he's looking for. That I don't know who she is.
Then you downloaded it to the thumb drive?
The thumb drive. I don't remember if I had downloaded on the thumb drive, but I had everything on the desktop.
And Detective, or former Detective Miller Thomas was with you.
Correct.
The third request, the second request was within 2 or 3 days of the first request.
Yes. It was about, yeah.
You ultimately received the third request.
Correct.
And you think the third request was 2 or 3 weeks later.
Correct.
And the third request was for images inside the Pure Lounge.
Correct.
This is where you testified that you attempted to gather the information,
Yes.
but the machine was not working.
Correct, sir.
Now, you recall that Mr. Baez and I came down to the Pure Lounge.
Correct, sir.
That was the first time I met you.
Yes, sir.
So we were there. prosecutors were there.
Correct.
Former Detective Miller Thomas was there.
Yes, sir.
Cure's manager or owner was there.
Correct. And my lawyer was there.
And your lawyer
And
was there.
the lawyer for the company was there. Correct.
We asked you questions.
Yes.
We asked other people questions.
Yes.
You guys answered our questions.
Correct.
You answered our questions to the best of your ability.
To the best of my ability.
When we were there in Cure Lounge, at least one of your colleagues said that when you had the 2 to 3 weeks,
I'll see you at sidebar.
the new lights were installed, there was a strobe light function in the former configuration.
I don't remember, but possibly.
It's your memory that controls.
Correct. I mean,
To the best of your recollection, the club had strobe lights.
yeah, I mean, it had some sort of a moving lights, but yes.
And now the internal cameras, back in July of 2012, what were they set on? The high, the medium, or the low?
I don't remember, but they might be medium or low.
And medium or low would mean that they would last a little bit longer.
A little bit more low, correct.
Let's talk about the DVRs for a moment. These are the devices that store the video images from the cameras.
Correct.
And they're located in the back office part.
In the room, correct. In the office.
And there is a wall of screens that you can look at in that same office.
Yes, as soon as you enter the door.
The screens show the live image of what's being recorded.
Correct.
Now, you began working for Cure in 2010,
Correct.
and indeed you installed the video system.
Correct.
In July of 2012, that was not the first time someone requested a video from Cure, correct?
Correct.
And you had downloaded things before this July of 2012.
Before July 20, yes.
And in 2010, for example, your first year working, you downloaded that information.
I had to download, yes, correct.
The 2 DVDs that you testified about, they worked all of 2010.
The 2 DVRs, correct. To the best of my knowledge, correct.
Right, and we're only talking about
Yes.
what you dealt with.
Yes.
And all of 2010, they functioned properly.
Yes,
And you worked in 2011?
correct.
And in all of 2011, the DVDs did not malfunction in the way that you described them malfunctioning in July of 2012.
They might have.
Well, nothing to your knowledge.
Not that I recall right now, no.
And let's go to 2012.
Correct.
So from January 2012 to, let's say, June 30th or 31st, whatever the end of June is, from January to June of 2012, to the best of your knowledge, the DVD system did not malfunction.
I'm sorry, repeat that again so I can try to understand.
From January 2012
Uh-huh.
to the end of June 2012, the DVD system did not malfunction.
To the best of my knowledge, yes. I mean, it wasn't something that was, yeah, correct.
But in July of 2012, this is where we have the malfunction that, in your words, everything wiped, correct?
It wasn't working.
So you sent out and got a replacement after that,
They send you a loaner until you send back the other one.
and you received the loaner, yes?
Correct.
You sent back the other one,
Correct.
you installed the loaner one, or hooked it up, the
They-
loaner DVD,
Correct.
DVR.
The DVR.
DVR is the proper term, right?
Correct.
So by August of 2012, you had a second functioning DVR.
Correct.
And from August 2012 to the end of 2012, that new one worked appropriately. It did not malfunction. To your knowledge.
Not to my knowledge, yeah.
Let's move to 2013. So all of 2013, the DVR, to the best of your knowledge, did not malfunction.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Let's go to 2014. To the best of your knowledge, all of 2014, the DVR did not malfunction.
I don't remember, but sure, yes.
Let's move to 2015. To the best of your knowledge, the entire year of 2015,
Yeah.
the DVR did not malfunction.
It might have, I don't know.
You have no knowledge of it malfunction.
I just don't remember.
All of 2017, we'll move to the current year.
Yeah.
So let's get 2016. Let's go back. 2016. To the best of your knowledge, the DVR worked in 2016.
It was working fine.
You didn't have to send one back.
No.
All right.
Not that I know of. I'm not sure.
My question is only about
Correct.
you.
Yeah.
In all of 2016, you didn't have to send it back like you did in July of 2012.
I don't recall, but I don't remember if I had actually did or didn't.
All right. Let's move to 2017. So where are we? We are in March of 2017. So far this year,
Yes.
your DVR system has not malfunctioned.
It hasn't.
It has not. So you worked at Cure from 2010 to 2017,
Correct.
and that's 7 years.
Correct.
And in those 7 years, to the best of your knowledge, the DVD malfunctioned in July of 2012.
Yeah.
That one time, to the best of your knowledge.
I honestly do not remember. I have to check my records. If I had sent somebody, or if I had sent something in to be repaired or to be exchanged within the year.
But to the best of your memory, as you sit here under oath today, you have no recollection in your 7 years of the machine malfunctioning, except July 2012. That's a correct statement.
I just don't remember.
And you don't remember?
I just don't remember if there was a malfunction after the 2012.
Right. You have no present memory of there being a malfunction.
Right now,
since
no.
2012.
No.
Right. And the date on 2012 we're talking about is that July 15th of 2012.
Correct.
The external ones worked that day, right?
Correct.
And to the best of your knowledge, the 8 is connected to the external drive, but that had internal cameras worked that day.
That's correct.
Only thing that didn't work were all, well, no, let me break it up. So there were 16 cameras on July 15th that covered the interior of Cure Lounge.
Yes.
Counsel, sidebar, please.
I want to ask you a couple more questions. First, you mentioned there was a yellow sticky note. You may not have said yellow. There was a sticky note
There was some sort of a sticky note that was on the desk.
that gave you certain cameras
Correct.
to pull the images from.
Yes, sir.
May I see the sticky note?
I don't have it, sir.
Where is it?
I probably I threw it out after when I was done.
Miller Thomas, I mentioned that he's a former homicide detective.
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, he's not an active detective.
Correct.
Drawing your attention to the second request, the request for the woman. Do you remember that?
Correct, because he had to view it.
It was Miller Thomas who came in with you to look through the video.
Correct.
No current detective or officer from the Boston Police Department was with him. That's correct?
I don't remember, but
he had called me up because he had gone to the office that night, so I can go pull up the cameras for him.
Your memory is that it was the two of you.
Correct.
Court's briefly open. The very last set of questions, I just want to clarify this. I'm focusing your attention now on the what you've described as the external DVR.
Correct.
The external DVR had 16 cameras associated with it.
Correct.
8 of those cameras were positioned somewhere on the outside of the building.
Yes.
8 of those cameras were associated on the inside of the building.
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, all 16 were sending images to the external DVR.
As I recall,
You only provided the police with the 8 external views.
correct.
You did not provide the police with any of the internal views of the Cure Lounge on July 15th, 2012. July 16th, 2012.
It was the lobby and the ID scanner and the outside cameras that they needed.
Those were the first 8.
Correct.
But the other 8 that operated on the inside, you did not provide.
No, because they never requested it.
You never talked to the police directly.
No, I didn't.
And you got this
It
information.
was never requested to me to back it up.
You never talked to the police.
Correct, I didn't. No, I didn't.
All your information came from a sticky note
Correct.
that you do not have.
I don't.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lee?
Very brief. Mr. Balsi, I just want to clear up a couple things. The equipment that made up your security system consisted of cameras,
Correct.
is that correct? DVRs
Correct.
and monitors.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Cameras shoot the footage.
Objection, leading.
What do the cameras do?
They record to the DVR.
They record to the DVR?
The cameras are plugged into the DVR.
All right. What is the function of the camera?
Is the view
Okay.
that comes to the DVR.
All right. And what is the function of the DVR?
Is to see it live to see it live and record on the DVR.
And what is the function of the monitor?
It's just to view the image that the DVR is giving you.
Okay. When you're looking at the monitor at live footage, okay,
Yes.
is the DVR supposed to be recording at all times?
Correct.
All right. If you're able to look at live footage, is there any way from looking at the live footage to know that the DVR is working correctly at that moment just by looking at the footage?
Yes. There's a button that you could go back 30 seconds or 60 seconds or 90 seconds.
Right. So what I'm asking you is, unless you're asked to retrieve the video,
Yes.
meaning to get it from
Yes.
the past, are you able to tell just by looking at the live footage whether it's working or not?
No, you can't say if it's recording but you can see the screen on live that is functioning.
Okay. So you could be watching live video for weeks on end with no request to look for backed up video.
Correct.
And not know whether the DVR was working.
Was working correct.
The way you find out that the DVR is not working is when you try to retrieve recorded video. Is that
Correct,
correct?
if you want to search something.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan, anything else?
Your Honor,
One further question. Do you have any sense of how long the DVR, the malfunctioning DVR, the internal DVR, how long it had been malfunctioning for before you discovered it?
I couldn't tell, no.
Mr. Sullivan?
thank you, Your Honor. Now, back in July of 2012, the system you used was a dual streaming H.264 multiplex 16-channel network DVR.
Correct.
In fact, you were kind enough to write us a manual for that DVR.
The same day that you were there.
And subsequent to that, you gave us a manual, gave it to me the day we were there,
The lawyer gave it to you, correct, sir?
but you said you weren't sure whether that was the general manual or whether that was the manual for that specific device, and you guys would make efforts and figure out what's what. Do you remember that?
Correct. That was the manual that came with the manufacturer.
And after the meeting, you sent over the manual that came with the machine as well as a disc.
Correct. That's what it came from.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yeah.
I'd like to mark this for identification.
M?
Mr. Nabulsi, I'm
Yes, sir.
showing you what's been marked as Exhibit M for identification. This, in fact, is the disc that you gave us that contains the owner's manual of the DVR.
Correct. That's, yeah.
You approach again? You may. May I have this marked, please, for identification purposes?
N for ID?
And for identification.
I'm showing you what's now been marked Exhibit N for identification. You recognize this as the user's manual of the DVR device in the Cure Lounge.
Correct, one of them.
I am going to show the government what I'm showing you, and I'll be right back. Go on to page. Approach.
You may. Grounds?
He's impeaching him with the document, Your Honor. We're impeaching him, that has to do from the podium as opposed to having him read the manual.
Not impeaching him, showing him the document.
All right.
So, Mr. Nabulsi, I'm directing your attention to page 20 of the user's manual, and specifically the section that covers channel status display. And even more specifically, I am directing your attention to an area of the display that indicates that HDD, you understand that to mean hard drive, correct?
Correct.
That when the HDD is normal, the color is blue,
Correct.
And when the HDD is in failure mode, the color is red.
Yes, it shows there.
And this is the display that is on the screen of your manual. I'm sorry, on the screen of the display.
Yes, but
And to the best of your knowledge, you never saw the red disc.
no, I never.
Your M and N for identification and evidence.
Is there an objection? I'll see you at sidebar. All right, members of the jury, we're close enough to 4 p.m. that we will not call another witness. We'll end now for the weekend to resume Monday morning at 9 a.m. Between now and then, put the case out of your mind. By that I mean, please don't discuss it. Don't read, hear, or see anything about it, and don't attempt to learn anything about this case or anything having to do with this case on your own. Enjoy the weekend. It's going to be bitterly cold, I guess, tomorrow, so enjoy that. At least during the view today, we kind of warmed you up for cold weather, so you'll be ready for it tomorrow. We'll see you all Monday morning. Have a good weekend.
All right.